Hey, you've got this part of the video. I hate it when that happens. If you got this part of the video, you got the live unedited edition. Home Gadget Geeks, Thursday night. No, Wednesday night. I don't say that very often, Mike.
I don't think you ever say that.
Wednesday night. I don't know if I've said Wednesday night in 4 years, maybe 3-4 years. I think in the 400 episodes that we've done here on what was Home Tech and now Home Gadget Geeks, I've maybe moved the day, I don't know, less than a handful of times, 3-4 times. But tomorrow night, Gallup's year-end awards are going on, and so I can't miss those. And so Mike said yes to Wednesday. So welcome to Wednesday. If you're catching this live, welcome. Thanks for coming out. Some of you found us on Twitter and or off the Facebook group. We get started here about 8. If you caught this after the fact, you're listening. Congratulations, you're listening to the live version. Go ahead and subscribe right now to it. It's right below the video down there. Just subscribe, and that way you get notified whenever we go live. You don't have to come out, but that way you'll know. Normally we start about 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes early, and that'll give you some time. Oh crap! Like I need to come out and watch Home Gadget Geeks live. And so subscribe down there. Just do that. Don't be afraid. We will get started here in 4 or 5 minutes. Mike, you have a new craft beer. Did you say tonight that you wanted to share a very fancy craft? I think it's from France. I
don't know. It's
out of the Rockies.
I think so. It's a Coors Liat. Born in the Rockies. I hear if the mountains are blue, it's when you're supposed to drink it, and the mountains are blue. So. Wow. Yeah,
no American marketing gimmick.
No,
on that one
this is leftover Super Bowl beer, so not too bad. Actually,
we some beer to get through that Super Bowl. Jeez.
Well, no kidding. It was so boring. There was nothing else to do. Yeah, I was telling Jim, I was like, Jim, I'm all out of beer. He's like, no, I don't want to hear you say that. I was like, maybe I should go check the fridge. Sometimes there's that straggler that you don't see, and I was surprised that I was like, there's no way we went through all that beer. And went up there. Sure enough, the flow over that didn't fit on the cupboard had been put in the door, and so found some door beers. It's always good to find some door beers.
Yeah, it's the door beers. Yeah. I like that's always surprise beers.
Surprise beers, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, those are the best. That's like finding money in your pocket and beer in your fridge.
Oh man, is there anything better?
No. Mm-mm.
Money in your pocket, better, though. Beer in your fridge.
Which is better, money in your pocket or beer in your fridge? Which one do you think is better?
That's tough. That's money in my pocket.
Okay,
money in my pocket.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna take the money option too. I mean, beer. Finding
then
beer
I could buy beer to put in my fridge. And I could have both. So,
or gas money.
Yeah.
And I'm drinking. I've got Omaha's Brickway, my favorite coffee vanilla stout. This is becoming a standard here at the Collison House. So, hopefully the weather will get a little bit warmer. We can smoke a few of those cigars. I have a load of them in here, man.
I was going to say, because your shipment must have come in right after we had that poker night, I think, right?
No, it did.
So,
yeah, it did. And so I'm loaded up on Javas. I'm loaded up on Tabix.
Very nice.
Yeah, I bought some little stubbies when we were out at when I was down in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. I was going to have a celebratory cigar with my brother when he got married. And it just never worked out. So I got a couple stubbies that I need to bring over. That'll be our hors d'oeuvre.
There we go. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like
That'll
it.
Be the hors d'oeuvres. Kevin, why do you miss Chatwing? We go ahead, Mike.
No, I was actually just going to talk about chat. So go say what you're going to say, and then I'll.
Yeah, well, I was going to say. So we changed last week. I did a learning series for Gallup, 8 webcasts, 8 hours. Over 5 days. I put in 65 hours last week. It was crazy.
Wow.
And everybody loved ditching Chatwing. They were like, oh, this new chat is great. I'm like, it's not new, and they just loved it. So that was different. Kevin, I'd love to know why you missed Chatwing. What were you going to say, Mike?
Yeah, we were debating 2 weeks ago, the last show, on whether the participants work in it or if it just shows us. And it does show, like if I click on participants right now, I see Yumi and Kevin. Now, obviously, this isn't going to show them until they start chatting, but it will show the people that are chatting if they're there. If they've at least chatted once, it should show. I don't think it'll show people who are just watching live and signed in.
Chat now is like I've looked at some other chat services, and they're either junk or they're like $50 a month.
Right.
You know,
And not worth it when there's this built-in option that works.
No.
And you know, guys, if you still want, I mean, you can pop out the chat. So that's what I've done. For Jim and I, obviously we don't need the YouTube video open. So I just pop out the chat, close the YouTube video, and on our way. And I think it works in the app, which is really nice. So if you're on mobile, it should be a lot easier experience to chat. I haven't tried that. I should probably I'm gonna hop on mobile here and see how that works.
It's pretty good. I mean, I'm not gonna say you gotta like it. Kevin said no rational reason. It's just a creature of habit. Yeah, no, I buy that. That's actually thank you for that really honest answer. Somebody I work with folks all day on that make up reasons for things to be wrong. And you're just like, no, just say you don't like it. It's okay. Or don't. But anyways.
No, I forget. Is the live channel is different, right? It's if you go to the average guy TV, I think is what it is live. Let's see. Let's look. Let me bring that up. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, the average guy TV.
Yep. I was not subscribed to that one.
Boom. Subscribe right now.
Okay, so if I'm watching us live, and I can chat in here too.
Yeah.
Chatting from the app.
We did get some folks.
That work? Yeah, it did. Look at that.
And I ran stairs today. I am going to be clearing my throat all night. We had some folks putting chat in the comments section. They were like, "Oh, loud and clear," in our comments, and instead of the chat room. So I had.
Because it's essentially the same thing as a comment, because those stay there as comments
right
once it goes live.
And I block all comments. They have to be approved. So I saw them all. So there were like 15, sound good. Checking in from Baton Rouge, because we always have them check in from where they're listening. Mike, Monday. So last Monday, I had 400 live.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we did 1,000. We did 1,200 that day. Watch the video that day.
I really, I'm in the total opposite camp. I love having something, I didn't care which one it was, but I'm excited we went to an app that has the chat built in, because I find myself, if I'm going to watch someone live on a podcast, especially, if you're at work, you just want to open it up. It's just so easy to open up the app, go to their channel, they're live, click on it, and the chatting works without, a window, like on mobile, which I think is, I would say, a majority of our listeners. Now, maybe not our live listeners. Our live viewers might be sitting at a desktop. Probably most of them are. Yeah. But man, when you're on mobile, it's just so easy to have it all streamlined all into one.
Yeah.
I think it should be good.
Links don't work. That's still a bummer. I mean,
remember we got them to work last week.
I could not get them working.
You have to go to live chat instead of top chat.
No, even with that last week wouldn't work. I was
really
trying to put some links out there, and I think what happened was I put a link, and then I put another link again, and it thought I was spamming, so it blocked me.
Gotcha.
And you don't know that's happening, but everybody was like, "Hey, where's the companion guide?" I'm like, "Here's the link. Where's the companion guide? It's right here." I kept
seeing it,
and then I was like, "Oh, they're not even seeing this link."
But were they on all chat instead of top chat?
We told everybody to go to live chat.
Yeah.
So that we got very little negative feedback on it. So Kevin, where in San Jose are you? That's my hometown, by the way. Grew up there.
Must be traveling for work.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He's a Minnesota guy, right? Minnesota. Hopping on the boat in Minnesota.
We'll get started here in just a minute. Yeah, I ran some stairs pretty aggressively today, and we call it stair lung, and you just can't stop coughing. It's just awful.
Well, you sent me that message after you worked out. I think you had gone into the activity and you were rubbing it a little bit. I know I've been slacking. I need to get back. I see you there. I'm like, shoot, I really got to get back into this.
Yeah, I rolled over. I went into the activity, swiped to the left, and it says, "Me, M. Uyghur," and me, all circles closed. M. Uyghur. Dude,
what am I
at? What are you at? How are you even breathing at this point? Did you wake up at all today?
Because I have my standing desk now, so I nail my stand because I stand all day.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, apparently I did not move. And And I didn't because we had a 5-hour continuing ed this afternoon. So we went into a conference room from noon to 5 and watched that continuing ed. Oh yeah, and the stand every day because I don't sit down at my desk. So
I like it. I have to. Kevin, where's your corporate headquarters at?
No, gave you the address even.
Did he? Oh, there it is. Okay, let's see where that. Let's check that out before we get started here. Sorry for the riveting pre-show conversation. If you're listening on the recorded version, riveting. Okay. Let's see if we see how far he is from where I grew up. Let's see. Oh, he's up in North San Jose. Okay, up near Berryessa and Milpitas. Yep. So if you go, I was down in the Los Gatos area, so Cambrian Park, not very far. I don't know, 5 miles from where you're at right now. Hometown. Be good to be. I'd like to be having a beer with you right now in San Jose. Well, I mean, it's more important than I'm podcasting with Mike Weaker. Let's just.
Well, good, man, cut me deep.
But maybe the three of us could be.
Yeah. Hey, no, there we go. I'll go for that.
Enjoying a brew in San Jose. That would be great. Okay.
I have yet to meet Schoonover in person. That would be great.
Yeah, we got to do a meetup. I got to get one pulled together here in Omaha. I'm getting closer to one. I gotta stop working so much. Okay. Let me bring this up. That's there. We got that. It is the 6th. This is my 3rd podcast of the week, and I did 8 last week. So I'm on 11 and 10 days.
Talking.
It's a lot of talking. I'm going to let you do some talking here. Here we go. This is the Average Guy Network, and you have found Home Gadget Geeks, show number 389, recorded on February 6th, 2019. Home Gadget. Let me try that one again. Here on Home Gadget Geeks, we cover all the favorite tech gadgets that find their way into your home. News, reviews, product updates, and conversation, all for the average tech guy. I'm your host, Jim Collison, broadcasting live from the AverageGuy.tv studios here in a very blustery, cold, and Mike, the polar vortex, which I don't know if a storm event has made that much news in a while. I mean, State of the Union, no. Polar vortex, yes.
It was
insane, right?
Yeah. We had, I think, Jim, our wind chills were crazy low, but I think our temperature even was like -14 without wind chill. Yeah. And then you add wind chill in -34. To bring it around to a tech angle real quick, I've never been able to integrate our weather intro to some tech. I got very scared this weekend, and I have not confirmed if it's fixed yet, but I looked outside. So after 2 whole days, so Jim, for our guests, I guess, who don't know, we went through this polar vortex. We had like -14, -34, 40 wind chill. Then the very next day, it was 50 degrees. So, I mean, a huge, massive swing. I look outside and I have that outdoor TV. It's an outdoor rated TV. And it looked like there was ice all over the front of the TV. My whole back patio is covered, so that never happens. This thing never gets wet, nothing. I go out there and the top layer of the film on the TV has bubbled all up. I mean, it is all bubbles. So it looks like it's covered in this sheet of bubbled glass or like ice, but it's all bubbled up. I'm like, it's ruined. Like the heat change caused the front to just bubble all up. So I'm like, well, okay. I mean, lesson learned, I guess. If it ever gets that cold again, I'll pull it in. I'm like, okay, whatever. The next day, Jim, I go out there. It's perfectly fine. Like it shrunk back into place perfectly. Wow. I don't know what caused it, how that happened, but yeah, it bubbled entirely up. Now it's all back flat. I have not turned on. I'm like, I'm going to give it some time, let it really get, back to normal. I'm going to wait till the temperatures warm back up because now it's back to being, below freezing again here. But the oddest behavior I've ever seen for a screen like that to bubble up and then go right back to normal.
Yeah. Outdoor TVs take a beating. It's tough on those things. It'll be interesting to how old do you think that TV is now?
It's a fairly new TV. So, I mean, it was there on the back patio when we bought the house. We bought it 2 years ago. It seems pretty new though. I would say, it's really flat. It's 1080p. It's not 4K or anything like that.
It's pretty hefty.
It's hefty.
It's a nice hefty brand.
Yeah. So I'm guessing 4 years old, maybe 4 or 5. If that, they might have put that in honestly a year before we even moved in. I don't know. So it could be as new as probably 3 years.
Well, it'd be interesting to see. It's a tough, to have 100-point. Well, to count the wind chill, it was probably 70 if you think air temperature, but we swang in 24 hours, 70 degrees.
Yeah, and that's
it's super
electronic.
Cold. And then it was foggy and really wet. And
yes, super humid.
What was really bizarre is we had about 4 or 5 inches of snow, maybe 3 to 4 inches of snow on the ground. And I never saw any of it run off, but it was in a day, it was gone. Like the fog sucked it up.
It was super weird.
It
Yeah,
was
it's almost like it all went into the air instead of on the ground.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So we're like clear of snow, and temperatures are back in the teens today, but we got some snow coming here. But yeah, Mike, it'll be interesting to see, whenever you put that kind of equipment outside. I have been thinking about putting some outdoor speakers. I bought some lights, some Christmas lights on clearance to put underneath the rails on the deck, a cheap way of I did look at some Q rope lighting for that, but it was like $90 versus 79 cents because I bought the lights at clearance, right after Christmas. And I'm like, I think I'm going to go with 79 cents. So that stuff just takes a beating. I have put multiple, those little post lamp, solar lamps you would put on top of a post. And they're not very bright, but it's good enough at night, and they're supposed to stay on. Those things either wear out or the solar piece gets some film on the inside so fast, and then of course it doesn't work. It after that it can't get photovoltaic, I guess is what that's called. So I go through those things. Any kind of that tech. Do you have speakers out there as well, or is it just the speaker on the TV?
Yep. So, there's 2 mounted on the wall. Those are Bose outdoor speakers. So those work fantastic. And those ones are tucked right up against the house under the overhang. So those are fine. And temperatures never affected them. And then we have just a cheap sound bar right below the TV where that's at. That seems to be working well too. But Jim, I guess after I've seen how well this TV has held in there with all of the weather we have, I think I will never put a regular TV out there. I will always go for the outdoor rated because this one is outdoor rated and I can see the reason why. Yeah. It can be rainy, wet, humid, hot, and this thing doesn't. The screen is perfect. It's great and all that weather.
Well, not unusual here in Nebraska to get a 60 or 70 degree swing in a day. We think of that in here on the plains, just not that unusual. So you do got to kind of think when you're thinking about your outdoor gear, whether it's a grill, TVs, sound equipment, whatever you're putting out there, it's going to be pretty tough. And you kind of think those nights, those cold nights, we're having some, and this is not tech related at all, but we're having some trouble with the ash borer. There's a beetle that's killing all of our ash trees.
Oh, really?
And it's kind of making its way across the Midwest, starting in Colorado, now in Nebraska, working its way across the Midwest. And almost every ash tree is going to die early because of these ash borers. And but they said it got so cold in some parts of the Midwest that they think it set back the ash borer, like all the larvae died because it got too cold.
Oh, interesting.
And you kind of think, oh, that's interesting. So anyways, super cold. And one of the reminders, if you're living here in the Midwest or anywhere where it gets really cold, watch your batteries, because if you leave a battery out in that kind of cold, and it's got any kind of weakness in it at all, it's an older battery, you've used it a lot, that cold could absolutely just crush it. And the cars, when we had that morning where it was really, really cold, I always told people, okay, we're going to find out who needs new batteries, because the cold will just crush those batteries and kill cells or kill the battery itself. And it's just harsh. It's harsh weather, and you gotta guard your gear. Well, don't forget, you can get the show notes. We'll have some links to a lot of things we mentioned out there at thearchguy.tv. Don't forget, you can also listen to us on the mobile app if you haven't downloaded that yet. iPhone, Android. Just go to the store, search Home Gadget Geeks, download it. Super easy, super free. Want to thank our Patreon subscribers who are faithful every single month. And if you support us on Patreon doing it this way, thank you for doing that. I just appreciate it. We have the most steady Patreon providers in the world, which either you're super faithful or you forgot that you actually supported me on Patreon. So thank you for doing that, and appreciate your Patreon support out there. Brian Hour says, go ahead and let the batteries die. He needs the business. So Brian's in the battery business. So we appreciate you doing that. Full show tonight. Lots of good stuff to catch up on. Last week, first show we missed in a while, but thanks for giving us the week off. Busy webcasting at Gallup. I had 8 webcasts to do. The Monday show, the Monday afternoon show, 400 live, Mike. We get 15 or 20, and it's pretty awesome when we do it here, and we get we get folks. Saturday mornings when I do Ask the Podcast Coach with Dave Jackson, we'll do 25 or 30. But to have 400 in a chat room, Mike, that's pretty crazy.
No kidding. I wouldn't know what to do. Were you having trouble with
it? Rolls fast.
Yeah, I was going to say how fast it rolls.
They kind of regulate themselves in some ways, and it didn't ever get out of hand. But with 400, it absolutely could. And these are professionals. This is a business podcast. I'm not all that worried about those things, but it could get out of hand. So thanks for giving us the week off. Several of you contacted me either via email or Twitter and said, hey, caught up. So the week off, good job. You got caught up, and now it's time to stay current. Don't forget, we are live on Thursdays. If you want to come out and join us live, we'd appreciate that as well. Couple announcements right off the top. Cyber Frontiers 52 is out. Well, that's not really true. I'm still, as I'm saying this, but by the time you listen to it, we will have the next edition of Cyber Frontiers out. We catch up with Christian. He talks about where he's been and what he's doing with Amazon. So you might want to kind of catch up on that and some of the work he's done. Some pretty cool stuff. I'll be honest with you, Mike, I really didn't quite understand what he was doing. And even as he was talking, he had to kind of school me on it. By the end of the conversation, yeah, I kind of understood it. So if you had some questions, it's really cool. And it's not what you think, what he's doing at Amazon. So you want to check that out. And then we have a big, long conversation on AI. If you've been following our AI conversations, that may be one where he just probably has one of the most grounded opinions and thoughts about AI. Go out and check it out. Cyber Frontiers 52. You can get it off the website or subscribe to the actual feed if you want to get that way. And then a couple months ago now, but I talk about this guy all the time, Vint Cerf, right? One of the fathers of the internet. He and a couple guys helped found that at UCLA in 1976. I got a chance to interview him at Gallup, which is really, really cool. Kind of a dream come true for me. And it's a very Gallup related. We talk about one of our entrepreneurial assessment tools that we have. But Vint really talks about a lot of what he, in the role of an expert in some of the jobs that he's done, talks about some interesting technologies. One, I'll just give you a hint or a little sneak peek. He talks about they're now creating concrete that absorbs CO2. So, we have a little CO2 problem on the planet, right? We're producing too much of it. In current way they make concrete, it actually gives off CO2, but they've engineered it now to consume it like you would. So you would bury it inside concrete, which is kind of an interesting thought, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
So, global warming or not, an interesting conversation. If you go to theaverageguy.tv/Vint, V-I-N-T, theaverageguy.tv/Vint, that will take you to the video where we talk about that. I think you'll like it. Not at all like Home Gadget Geeks. Not at all. In fact, another host. I am just the producer of that one. I talk a little bit. I ask a few questions. Very, very different than Home Gadget Geeks. But if you are a tech guy and you're into the internet, that's probably 102% of my audience. I don't know where the other 2% came from, but that is I don't know, aliens maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if we broadcast to space.
Babies in the womb, right?
Yeah. There you go.
For the ladies who are pregnant ladies, there's your other 2%.
Mike, you restarted Suit and Scrubs. I forgot I didn't write that in the show notes, but it's super great. Talk a little bit about that for folks that maybe need another podcast to listen to.
Yeah, if you're looking for something, Suit and Scrubs is my wife and I's podcast. I'm a suit. I'm a lawyer. She's a scrub. She works in healthcare. Basically, that title just represents how different we are. We're just polar opposites. Our careers are polar opposites, but it makes our marriage great. So if you want to go out, it's kind of just a funny comedic perspective on parenting and marriage. We do some fun competitions. We talk about our life. So if you want to go to suitandscrubs.com, you guys can head out there and take a listen. Also on there, though, Hannah, so we started a blog on there as well, kind of a parenting marriage blog. I wrote our first entry last year. And then that's when we had started up the podcast again. Obviously, our second kid came. We had to take a hiatus. So Hannah just got us back into the game on the blog side as well. She wrote a dynamite article on essentially the struggles a mom goes through when thinking about, having a career outside of the home, right? So your career of being a mom, your career outside the home, and kind of, what it's like in the modern day of judging moms, and how that goes. So just a fantastic perspective that she gave in that article. So we're going to be doing a lot more blogging, podcasting over there. Our next podcast is due out here in a few days. So sticking with it, and it's a total blast. So yeah, hopefully you guys will come out and check out that. Like, so suitandscrubs.com. We're also all over the social media pages at Suit and Scrubs.
I'm not going to give it away, but I am. You get totally schooled on that podcast, by the way.
I think I do. Yes, I totally do. Although we found out it was rigged later. It had something to do with NFL, and I was just failing on the teams there.
Well, yeah, it's a great podcast to listen to. I really enjoyed it. I laughed the whole time you guys were doing it. But Hannah's actually a really great podcaster. Like,
she's Jim,
good at
Jim,
this.
don't tell her this, but she's the secret sauce. Like, I'm just there. She makes the show. Yeah. She's fantastic.
Super great.
We did do a little competition on the latest episode where we took definitions or terms that we use in our careers. So in the legal field and in the occupational therapy field, and we quizzed each other on if we knew what the meanings were. So that was a fun little segment. I enjoyed that one.
It's a great companion podcast to this one.
Because they're totally different.
Yeah, no, but I just, it gives an inside look at you. Like, you and I both talk tech.
Right.
And if you follow me at Gallup, like a lot of we have some crossover. I have some coaches that follow me at Gallup, and a lot of the work that I do at Gallup is very much about me, me and what I do in my job and some of those kinds of things. So the work that I do with Clifton Strengths, we don't get that side from you a lot here, and to hear it, just from a family perspective, I think it's really worth listening to. So get out there, resubscribe to it. Third time's a charm.
Third time's a charm.
The second time really wasn't a time. You made one.
Well, it was a mistake. What was I thinking, Jim? Hannah, we addressed it in the show, but we started it up in November. Our second kid was due in December. I do not know what we were doing to think that we could start up a podcast.
I don't know. So, you thought you'd be a Twitch guy too, and that really hasn't gone anywhere.
Realized that was
No, it's all good. So check that out. Suit and Scrubs, some good stuff. We asked for pictures of your racks, and it took us a couple weeks, but the pictures started pouring in on Facebook this week. And let me say, there are some good looking racks. I've been wanting to say that for a long time. You guys have some great looking racks, and everything from, and you got to be in the Facebook group. So facebook.com/groups/the average guy. Get you in. Just jump in there. I know I don't do Facebook. Well, just do Facebook for one thing, our group. Okay. You can block don't even have friends. Don't let anybody friend you. Just be in the group, right? And so a few of you, and I thought about even posting them on the website, but I didn't necessarily. As we were interviewing Paul Barron the other week, he was showing an app and it had his address, and he was like, "Hey, I got a lot of equipment here. I don't know if I necessarily want to be telegraphing my address." It's not hard to find people, right, online and such, but I appreciate your transparency as you post these things online. I do want to be careful. In our Facebook group, it's fairly locked down. Like, it's just really, I don't know, a couple hundred guys. I know most of them. They had to have permission to jump in there. And so that's a little bit better. But I do appreciate those that have security concerns about putting all that stuff out there. That being said, we got everything from a loaded rack with everything like boxes and equipment. And I think Tim posted, he doesn't really have a rack. He just has his TV, and it's more like the entertainment center is where everything is at. For him, John showed us all of the boxes and the computers and stuff. Mike, did you see anything out there interesting?
Oh yeah, tons. I love them all. If I had to pick a favorite so far, Joe's post was, his is so clean. He's got a rack, and he's got even some devices in there that are really hard to cable manage. He's got a coax splitter, goes into 2 HD home runs, and I think if I'm looking at it right, they're almost zip tied up and down onto this back plate. It looks super clean. He's got obviously the patch panel. He's got everything, and so his was super clean looking. I appreciated all of them for different reasons. For him though, overall, just he integrated a lot of different stuff in there, some non-typical rack mount gear into the rack, and so I really enjoyed his. But I loved them all. I mean, they were great. I know that Tim's was cool. John, I love John's because John is exactly the type that I think most people could do, right? Like, take something that maybe isn't, like, you don't have to spend a bunch of money on an IT rack, right? Like, I think, Jim, you do the same thing.
Yeah.
Where you use this storage rack, and it works great. You can store a bunch of stuff on there. So
Pretty
yeah,
sure there's a VCR or two in there.
there is.
There might be a DVD player
there's a
that I
bunch of
see.
stuff on that one. And then Ben's also, I really like Ben's because his is in a spot in his house where he actually ran a lot of his lines too. So he's kind of like me. He picked a central spot that he can get all of his wall jacks run to. That's the one reason my rack is where it's at, is because that was naturally for this house where all of the lines came to, for phone lines and for coax. So I just went there, and then I ran my own wall plates and ran my own cable and did the same thing. So it worked out pretty well. So yeah, these were all great. If we didn't mention you, we definitely saw them and loved seeing everyone's loved seeing your rack.
Well, from a couple weeks ago, Justin threw a couple from his workplace, and has a 6-monitor setup. I think I've posted my workspace, my podcast studio at work before. I know I've posted the podcast studio here before. He had a 6-monitor setup, and then a bunch of equipment being a bunch of Apple equipment going in for the schools there. Justin.
Yeah. And then Brian obviously has, I think, the record for some of the coolest, most retro gear on his rack. That was a pretty cool one as well.
Yeah. So appreciate you guys, you doing that. Mike has posted his, I posted mine. I think that kind of covers the gamut. We'd love to see yours if you want to still post that out there. But Mike, all this chat of Unraid and racks and servers got me kind of thinking again. And so over the weekend, I was doing some.
Start thinking now, Jim.
Dude, I know.
It's ourselves into trouble here.
It's about to. This is when I usually break stuff.
Right.
This is usually when I lose data. It's not like I don't lose data from an accident. I lose it because I'm like, I'm going to set up a new server, you know, and
this don't fail. We just make them fail by moving stuff around.
But I was, I had my HP N40L, which is a notoriously slow server. It's not very big. It's got nice it's got 4 bays in it. Plus you can extend that out to put more drives in there. I've got an SSD in there to help speed it up. But I mean, it has an awful processor. It's not really good at anything. What it is good at is storage, though. It's got plenty of base space. You can do a lot of things with it. You could put Windows on it or Linux on it. I could put Unraid on it if I wanted to. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do with that. And I wasn't going to do Unraid because you did Unraid. And I was like, you know what? It's time to build the 2019 home server. Like, I haven't done that in a long time. In Kyle's comment to me the other day, I think it was in chat, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was talking about the Moro data box, right? We had those guys on, Paul from Moro Data, great box, a terabyte of storage that's local and cache, SSD in this case. And then everything else, and I have probably another terabyte of data that's beyond that, gets pushed up to B2. We've talked about that before, Backblaze B2, and it's up there. But Kyle was like, that's not really backup. And he was right, that the data that I have on the B2 servers, I only have in one place, on the B2 servers. And if something were to happen to Backblaze, for whatever, they stop service, right? I can't get to Backblaze. Those files are gone, and I don't have them anywhere locally. I put them on the Moro Data box. Moro Data pushed them up to B2. And Mike, I was like, yikes. Actually, he's 100% right. So I felt a little convicted, not really, but a little convicted, like, hey, I should probably make sure I have those files here somewhere else. I had a lot of things running burst, and I was like, I could probably pull some of that storage in, some of those hard drives in. And so I took 2 1 terabytes in a 750, took Windows 10, put it on the box, got those going, bought another copy of StableBit Drive Pool for $15. By the way, pro tip, if you already own StableBit Drive Pool and you go to buy another license, there's an option when you're buying it to put your existing license in, and it goes from $30, which is a freaking steal, by the way. Like $30 for this software, super worth it, to $15, because it's only $15 for each license you own beyond the first one. I was thinking you had to buy them at the same time to get that price. Nope. If you own a license, you put it in, $15 to get another copy. So now I'm up to 3 copies of StableBit Drive Pool here, doing those. One of the great things about that, I talked about it, is you can put your email address in, and if any of those drives go offline for any reason, it just emails you, and it works perfectly. I mean, I've been using it on these 2 boxes, and I've been messing around with those boxes and their drives over the last week. Tore one down and kind of built it back up as a burst box, moved some drives around. It was notifying me all the time. In fact, I got about 20 emails. Hey, I can't see the drive. Yeah, okay, just relax. I took it down. It'll be fine. So stable bit drive pool, put all the redundancies on so that it's backing things up, put Windows on it, exposed it through an advanced sharing feature. It shows up on the network. It's another drive. It doesn't have the backup features that you would get from home server, but is that kind of same thing we were looking for back in the day, to be able to put files that are duplicated, in this case 3 times on those drives, and gives me a little storage. What's great about it is it just does file. All it does is storage. It's a great box for that. It doesn't need a lot of horsepower to do storage, right? And
but
go ahead.
If you've got a kind of CPU limited machine, I would actually think that would be the perfect use case for something like Unraid.
Yeah,
because
except you already did that.
Yeah, but you don't have all the overhead of Windows 10. Windows 10 has a lot of overhead that it's using for a bunch of random stuff that you have no idea what it is. Yeah. And with Unraid, you could just fire up a VM of Windows 10 if you ever needed it. Yeah. So
I didn't do it for 10. I did it because I know 10 really well. For one.
Yeah, true.
And
I guess, if you're using it just for storage, it does what it does.
Piece of cake. It actually does what it does. It really is a nice, and Windows Home Server was really nothing more than Windows under the hood.
Right.
Windows Server, which is really not still Windows, right? Those two OSs are very similar. So it was kind of fun. And then I've been taking all the files that are on the Moro data box, finding the ones that are local, so I don't have to download them yet. Now I'm gonna have to pay when I start pulling down the ones that are on the B2 box, because they're in cold storage. They don't charge you to upload them. They do charge you, I think it's a penny. It's a penny a gig or something. It's not very much. But with B2, it's pretty cheap. But it's still going to cost me probably $10-15 to get all that data back over time. One of the tools I did find to get that done, though, this was really, really cool. Back in the day, we were big SyncToy fans. And I actually thought about using SyncToy as a software application to sync between the two, to move them over. Right. Make sure you want to use a sync tool, make sure they get there. It kind of tracks it, all those other things. But like SyncToy has not been developed since like 2009. And it wanted a .NET 2.0 framework. And I'm like, I just don't want .NET 2.0. I don't want that. That's an old version. I'm not interested in it. So I went with Sync Back Free, all one word, Sync Back Free. And free version they have a paid version that you can use. The paid version's got some more functionality, stuff I didn't need. It on the free version, FTP or files, you can do either way. Super easy to go in and select. In fact, as I'm selecting files to move or to sync, it'll tell me if it's on that device or if it's just a shadow of it on that device, right? So when it's backed up to B2, the file header is there, but the file isn't. That's how that kind of works. So it tells me, yep, file's here, gives me an A status, and AO status means it's not there in Sync Back Free. Rock solid. It's been great on that box. That thing actually, performance-wise, has been pretty good. File write speeds aren't the greatest. Those are green drives, and it's a slow processor. I don't care. I'm moving those things over and filling that thing up, and have been getting rebuilding, so to speak. I think I'm actually going to need to put another drive in there too. I'm going to fill that thing up with all the files I'm moving over. But a pretty great, and it, as I went to bed the other night, I'm like, okay, I have another copy of my data locally. The beauty of this is once it's synced, if it doesn't find the file on the source, just does nothing at that point. So it's perfect for me, because those things are going to be backed up and go into again, they're going to be backed up to B2. There's going to be a shadow copy. That's not really what it's called, but a placeholder for that file. It will go to find it. It'll just say it's a placeholder. It'll just ignore it.
It's like a permalink, I think, to the B2 version of that.
Yeah. On that box, if I wanted to go get that file that was only on B2, but it's the placeholder is on the box, it just goes and grabs it and downloads it. And you just wait for it. And when it's there, it just does its thing. Pretty great little box, but a good limitation, or a good catch, Kyle, on the limitation there. And I did a lot of thinking about that, Mike. I was kind of like, okay, what are the chances B2 is going to go under, or Backblaze is going to go under? I don't know. What were the chances Crash Plan was going to change their
no
service
kidding, right?
plans, right? Yeah. We didn't anticipate that. What and if we're really going to be good stewards of those files, I need to really have a local copy. And I may even move those around and do some things locally here where I've got a copy on that. And then maybe I push those to the Drobo. It's just another instance as well. Once I get those built up, they don't take any more space, right? Couple terabytes isn't that much space when I have 68 terabytes of space available in the house, right? You kind of start thinking of things differently when you see that. So kind of cool. So thanks. I mean, in some ways, Mike, you with going Unraid got me kind of thinking again, like, boy, it'd be nice to have a Windows server, so to speak, right, running in the house.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm down. That sounds super cool. And I like the way you synced those across, because when you started to mention that, I was like, oh man, what tool would I even use? I've been looking for a need. I don't have a need for it, but for Resilio Sync, which is the new version of BitTorrent Sync, I've heard really good things about that. I've never had an opportunity to check it out, though. I don't know if it would have fulfilled your needs on this project, but it's something I've been wanting to check out. Resilio is Resilio. Kind of an interesting tool.
Yeah, everybody kind of has their, as I was looking into this again, everybody kind of has their own sync favorites, and there's a bunch of different ways to do sync. And actually a lot of those backup, what's really, really interesting as we were in those home server days, as everybody was kind of building, those were the days when companies like Carbonite and Backblaze were really new. I mean, they were just starting to come online, a couple years old, and a lot of that sync backup and sync stuff was kind of reserved for the enterprise, and we were out ahead of the curve, so to speak, of testing all those things out. I mean, I've done some massive work on all the cloud storage options that are out there as well, but that's the one I went with. And worked out pretty well. Let us know. Let me know what your favorite sync tool is. I'm always interested in that. I like this one. But if you've got a better one, I'll leave a link to the one I'm using in the show notes. Again, that is Sync Back Free. Kind of a weird name. It almost smells like spam, or
I was just going to say it sounds spammy.
Yeah. No, it's all legit, or at least it was for me. Nothing set off. The alarm bells did not get set off when I download and use it. But Kevin says out in the chat room, always sync. Still has some good use cases. And Sync Toy still works. That's the crazy thing about Microsoft. Still has it available on their websites, and you can do that. Mike, you got something about an ISP in Lincoln. I don't quite understand what you're saying there, but talk a little bit about that story.
So this is the one, actually, Jim, I wanted to issue a little tech challenge to everyone, because this is one of those where I had a problem and I honestly was so baffled until I found the right article on Google and until I entered the right search terms on Google. So here in Nebraska, in Lincoln, there is a new ISP that has come around called Allo. I think I'm saying that right. ALLO. Fantastic ISP. They're fiber. They're in Lincoln. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law, they have Allo. They are getting, I want to say, gigabit speeds for half the price that I'm paying for Cox. I mean, just ridiculously low. I think it's gigabit for like $50 a month or something. I mean, just ridiculously low speeds. So we've been playing Xbox a lot. He got an Xbox, we've been playing, and he is constantly having connection issues to get into our games, and voice chat, it'll kick him out. We can't invite him, things like that. Well, I know that traditionally on the Xbox, that is a NAT issue, right? On the Xbox, you need to have open NAT, and if you have anything like moderate or strict, that can cause problems. And especially with a game like Call of Duty really likes to have a special port, 3075, that it can open up and everything and it'll work. So I said, okay, no problem. Next time I go down, I know how to fix this. The network, that's usually super easy. I'll port forward, or I'll turn on UPnP, or in the off chance, I'll put you in the DMZ, right? So we have some options here. I went down there, logged into their router. Well, first of all, I got on the Xbox and it says you have double NAT. Now, for those of us who are techie and networking, most of us know that double NAT would mean that somehow he has two routers in the house that are both natting, and it's causing issues before getting out. So I'm like, okay, this is weird. Maybe they have I set up all their technology. So I'm like, well, maybe they changed something. Maybe they added a second router. Maybe they added a wireless access point that's in router mode behind their first modem router. No, The Xbox was plugged straight into the modem that they got from Allo, but it's saying double NAT. So that was my first little trigger that this might not be something I can control. So I got into the router, I logged in to the modem router provided by Allo, tried UPnP, still double NAT. Tried port forwarding, still double NAT. Tried putting it in the DMZ, still double NAT. Like nothing was working. And he was constantly getting moderate NAT settings, which was in the Xbox world, in Call of Duty world especially, you're going to have issues connecting to other people who have moderate settings. So come to find out, after a little bit of Google Foo, so this is where I would have issued the challenge to you guys. After hearing those facts, I had no idea what to do. I was like, I've never seen double NAT with one router in the house. Like I just didn't even think I hadn't experienced it yet. So obviously I hadn't Googled it. So apparently this was my first experience, and Allo just made the switch, because I should have told you guys too. This recently started happening with him about 2 months ago. They've had Allo for about half a year. It was fine. Then all of a sudden it changed. So Allo is switching their entire network over to what is called carrier grade NAT, or CGN for short. So I had never heard of this. So essentially what they are doing is, instead of giving each home its own public IP address, they are essentially doing natting on their end as well. So they're taking a public IP, and then they're issuing a lot of private IPs to a large section of homes in the neighborhood. It allows them to use less public IPs. And Jim, I'm guessing this is how they cut costs. I'm guessing this is a way that they don't need as many public IPs. And so it allows them, they're doing natting, and then the home is also doing the NAT. But, so, okay, that's great. But there are so many other ways that I think they could have done this. They could have either done IPv6. IPv6 was not an option in the router. That just solves all the issues if you're going to do that. I've never seen someone do a double NAT, because it wreaks havoc for people who are trying to do anything with hosting at home. I love this service, but if I lived down there, Jim, this wouldn't be an option for me, because think about it. You can't do any sort of port forwarding. So good luck getting a VPN back to your home, because you do not have a public IP. You can't use dynamic DNS, so you couldn't use like a duck DNS service to even tell the outside world what your public IP address is, because you don't have one. You have a private IP from your ISP. So just a very odd implementation. Not really sure why Allo has done it this way. Come to find out, you can pay a little bit extra and get yourself a public IP. So I think it's like $5 extra a month. My brother and sister-in-law are like the opposite of tech people. They just want it to work. They don't care. Like, I'll deal with it, whatever. We can just hop back in the game after we get kicked out. It's no big deal. I'm not going to pay $5 extra. But just a very interesting implementation from an ISP. And I had never heard of carrier grade NAT. They said it was kind of similar to how essentially the wireless carriers do it. So your Verizons, your AT&T, your Sprints, apparently that is kind of how it all started. But since then, I think a lot of the wireless carriers use IPv6 for a lot of their stuff to issue those addresses out. So not sure why you would go with this carrier grade NAT instead of doing IPv6. I also don't know why you wouldn't just give each house a public IP like every other ISP out there. Jim, you and me, it might change. It's not static. We don't pay for a static IP, but we have a public IP attached to our homes, attached to that modem. And that was not the case here. So super frustrating that I didn't figure that out till the very end. I was racking my brain, and then the correct Google term finally got me onto an article on Reddit, actually. So thank goodness for Reddit, of someone talking exactly about this issue.
This might be a small town internet problem too, because these guys, Allo, are actually a division of Nelnet. And
yes,
if you know
exactly.
Nelnet, right? Nelnet is famous, at least here in the Omaha area, for college loans. Nelnet does a lot of college servicing. Nelnet was actually a startup here in Lincoln from some students out of University of Nebraska at Lincoln. They're super famous in that college, anyways. And but they service the areas they service: Grand Island, Kearney. Some of the outlying. When we think of the small rural Nebraska towns that are available, that's Scottsbluff, Ogallala, North Platte, Gering. Those are, Fort Morgan out in Colorado. So it wouldn't be surprised me. I mean, that's a challenge to run IP services or ISP services in small towns anyways. Anybody who's tried to own an ISP in a small town just knows those things are not profitable at all. And most of your customers are like that. They just don't care. They're like, why doesn't this thing just work? And so no surprise, actually, you're kind of thinking about it like, okay, so they're trying to cut some corners here to make it profitable. Lincoln is, Lincoln's it's our state capital, but it's still pretty small in regards to actually population. So interesting. Yeah. How many hours do you think you burn on that?
Not too many. I was down there, we kind of gave up on it. I was playing around with it probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, playing with different settings, seeing if we could get it to work. But just nothing was getting it up and running.
Well, it's there's always those challenges. I'm sure we've heard certainly Cox has got its things going on. Comcast, Verizon, they've got all their big problems. Small town internet. One, you're super grateful to even have it sometimes,
right.
And two, you're just super happy it works, when you do get it. Mike, this week I've been listening to a lot. I've said this a couple times, but I've been listening to Richard and Josh over at Entertainment 2.0 a bunch, as well as Rich Hay, Windows Observer. And both of them have mentioned the Windows 7 is, we're a year away. This may be the longest year in the world when it comes to Windows 7 support, because a year from now, take some change away from that, where we are on the 365 downhill slide to Windows 7 support. I'd actually be interested in hearing from you if you still have a Windows 7 box, and what are you using it for? We have one in the living room. Media Center is on it. Media Center it just runs so well. Like, it is so great. It's perfect for Sarah. It does exactly what she needs to do. We've talked about that here on the show before. But I've been prepping her for like, hey, okay, Windows 7 support, it's done in a year. TV Guide may go away in a year. Do we have to do anything now? No. But for the last year, I've been trying to make Plex work. And if you've been listening to Dave McCabe over at Reset, I think he's tried it and dropped that about 18 times in the last 5 or 6 years. I think most recently he's tried it and dropped it again. I've been paying for it for at least a year, maybe 2 years, using their DVR, running them through Silicon Dust tuners. I have two tuner cards, so 4 in the house. Some success. They have some guide data now, blah, blah, blah. But Mike, I don't know what got into me. I was thinking about a podcast you and I had done maybe 6 months ago. And you're like, Jim, you got to try this YouTube TV thing. Right. So I got home from listening to the podcast. I'm like, I'm going to give this YouTube TV a try. Right. Yeah. 14-day trial. And you can try it for free, $40 a month. Right. I think that's going to stop some people when you think about it. But Mike, put that thing on. We'll sign up for the service, accessed it through the Xbox, got it on the computer, got it on my phone, put it on the Shield. Listen, on the NVIDIA Shield, it is freaking awesome, freakishly awesome. Like, it's incredible. It works out really, really well on the Shield. And I kind of started thinking $40
could be a new addition to the budget.
Well, I'm already spending $5 a month on Plex, so We're down to $35. And then I think about all the storage that I have, and the maintenance of it, and keeping it up and keeping it going. And then I thought about this: YouTube TV, ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, and here in the Midwest, the Big Ten Network.
Fox Sports, CBS SN, because that's what I'm watching the Creighton game on right now. CBS SN is on there. I mean, they have every single. The only thing you will not get and this won't bother you because you've never had it, but like NFL Red Zone this past season, apparently they've been trying to get it. They don't have NFL Network or NFL Red Zone, but may come. So,
I kind of I'm kind of thinking, Mike, it's like, okay, we may not bite right now. Like, I don't know if I still have a need. Everything is still working. I don't know if she wants to change. Right. I don't need to watch more TV. It's the worst sports season that starts. Like, right Super Bowl ends. Worst sports season is now to baseball. Right. And, pitchers and catchers. That's what we start. We start counting down the days to pitchers and catchers. So, but yeah, I'm giving it some serious thought. The one drawback that I'm thinking, by the way, guide data is great. One of the things I hate about Plex is it takes so long to get the channel. And I'm a channel surfer. So like commercial happens. I want to immediately move to another channel. Like boom, 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 boom. I'm moving. In Plex, can you do it? Yes. Is it clean? No. Like it takes a while. And I'm running on a super fast box. And it takes a while for that thing to click over.
And I don't think that'll ever be fixed, to be honest, because it's got to tell HD home run to tune to a different channel. It's just there is that integration right there I think that's why it's so slow.
Yeah. $40 worries me because it's not $40 today. It's, Netflix just raised their price. Hulu did some changes in their pricing recently. You kind of go, how soon till that's 45 and then 50 and then 75 and you start going, damn, I could just have done cable if cable's still more expensive, but
it is way more expensive especially for all the lineup you get. Plus, Jim, I think have you used the cloud DVR yet, part of YouTube?
So I scheduled things to record, like that's in quotes, right? It's not recording it. It's just they're ear tagging, right?
It is because it's pulling in. If you do your local network channels, you get your local commercials.
Really?
So I don't know how they're doing it. They have tuners in each region, I'm guessing, because you put in your city and it has to be a city that's in their system. And then so like I can record the news in Omaha on YouTube TV.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy. So
it's your version. That's the kind of thing I'm thinking. They got to do some economies of scale where if you set the news to record and I set the news to record, it records it one time.
Oh, yeah. I'm guessing they have a DVR in each kind of region that's just recording this stuff, and you get access to that file essentially. Right. But you're adding that stuff to the library, and you can watch it on anywhere, on any device. It's not tied to a box. The DVR feature on that is top notch, and the fact that you can record cable channels. Jim, until you've said it, I don't know why I still use so much Plex recording on TV instead of we have YouTube TV, but we only use YouTube TV for the cable channel aspect of things. We still watch everything else on Plex, but I didn't really think about that. But yeah, that's the best part about it. You get any device, anywhere, your DVR is with you wherever you go. It's great.
But I think those recordings are only available, only in quotes, 9 months. So I think, so I think that's a limitation. You're going to have some guys and gals who are going to be like, no, I recorded this thing. I want it forever. Or I want to create I'm creating my own box set of the series to go back and watch it whenever I want. I do think that's a serious limitation where I think you're only going to get, now 9 months is a long time to go watch it.
Right.
But if you want to keep series information, this is probably not going to do that for you.
I don't know what really would though.
Well, Plex would for sure.
Well, right? Plex is only your local channels.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah.
But then it's yours, right? Yeah. But
no, right on. And what I'm thinking though, for streamers, true streamers, you're going to watch it and record the real time stuff as it's happening, right? And then you're going to end up on Netflix or Prime or Hulu to get the series, the TV series after they've aired live, right? So
exactly.
Right now, or what's the new Star Trek one? That's not Star Trek. It starts with an O. Why can't I remember that?
I don't know.
Anyways, it's in its second season. You can't get the first season on YouTube because it's already somewhere else. Okay. And so I'm going to need a streaming, if I want to watch the first season of it. New Girl would be another one where those seasons are available on Netflix right now. So I got to go watch season Orville. Yeah, that's the one we were looking for. Thanks, guys. Discovery is the new Star Trek. That would have been a correct answer too. But we think about that. CBS All Access is one channel. You can record CBS shows unlimited YouTube TV, right?
Right.
As well as NBC and ABC and all the other, Fox, all the other channels. So, man, Mike, it's a tough one not to kind of take seriously. And at $40, it's not a fly by night. It's kind of one of those things you're like, I kind of think they thought about it. And I think they kind of priced it in the right spot.
Well, it
And
had to be low enough for people to bite the bullet and switch from cable, and it is, right? It's much lower.
Yeah.
And I can't really think of a reason. If you like those sport channels, 40 isn't bad.
No. Well, and to get the Big Ten network, like Sarah this year, she's like, "Hey, are the Huskers on?" And I'm like, "Oh, they're on the Big Ten network."
Yeah.
Guess we'll have to go to DJ's, which isn't always bad.
But it costs you. You'll spend the meal.
That'll be $40 right there,
exactly.
right?
That's $40 right there. And the other cool thing, Jim, is you can also share YouTube TV with your family. So up to 6 members. So you invite, let's say, your kids, if they have a Gmail account, you just invite them, add them to your family. They can watch as well. So you could make it less than 40. If you and your son want to split it, then it's 20/20. Your son, your daughter want to split it, then you've got, you could split it up with someone and make it a little bit cheaper.
I just make them buy the beer when they come over.
That'll
be the difference.
Jim. Really, when you think about it.
Just don't tell YouTube. I'm sure that's in their user agreement that I can't charge for people to come watch these things. Well, Mike, it's another option, and it's got me seriously thinking. Kind of like, I actually deleted Plex off my main box here.
Oh, interesting.
I was kind of like, well, I don't know if I need Plex anymore. And I have plenty of ways to get to Plex if I want to do it that way. But I'm not watching a lot of TV. So this is another factor. It's kind of like I could just watch it. I've been watching, and actually there's some shows that find their way onto YouTube, right? So you can just watch them there. So I've been watching I think it's on Hulu. I've been watching Hunting Hitler. I think that's what it's called. And they're going back and doing an investigation of Hitler's travels from Germany.
I've heard of this, but it's a show on Discovery, isn't it?
It is, but I think it's made its way to Hulu now.
Okay.
Yeah. Discovery Channel. No, History Channel. It's a History Channel show.
It's History Channel.
Yeah. Yep. And if you're into those kind of conspiracy theory, techno, because they're using a ton of tech. Like if you're into these Mystery Channel shows and then you want to add it with just the most tech that you could find in a show, like they're doing ground radar, they're doing all kinds of aerial surveillance. This guy's running a program so there's all these declassified documents from the 40s on Hitler.
What brought it out is like those became declassified at some point, so that triggered them to make the show, right?
Yeah. So this guy put all these documents in. He had created this application just for these things of finding for cold cases and finding these things where you load in tons of documents and then it does some things to show locations or show people or tie things together. It's super cool what they did. But yeah, that's kind of what kicked it off. And a pretty cool, like, the premise, okay, it's cool. I mean, he's dead now. So it's not like we're going to find him alive down in Argentina, right? Yeah. He's dead. But that being said, the technology they're using to get this thing is pretty cool. That is one of those things, streaming on Hulu. And, you're just going to, although as a Sprint customer, there's not a lot of great things about being a Sprint customer. One is you get free Hulu. So that's not bad. $6.
People know about that. My dad still, their whole family's on Sprint. And he was telling me about that. That's a cool little perk of being on Sprint. I mean, that's $10 a month.
Yeah. SP says Vikings on the History Channel for the win. Yeah, that's another. God, there's so many good those History Channel or history shows that have taken technology and are using all this new technology to discover things. Pretty great. I mean, it's just they're pretty awesome. So I've kind of gotten into I've also been watching, what's the name of it? It's an older show from a couple years ago, but it would be like, what would happen if every human disappeared? What would happen to the planet? Like, how would plants take over animals? How would things return to it? I don't know. It gets me interested in those things, Mike, but
it's those rabbit holes you get down.
Kind of like gosh. Yeah. Well, I think, well, we're going to talk some more about it. Sarah had a little surgery on Monday, so she's not really up to talking much about those things, but I think that it's going to be an option that I'm going to float around out there for a while. I've got another week on the 14-day trial. Definitely worth, if you just do the 14-day, it'll take a credit card, but you can cancel it. I think it's worth giving it a look if you're a big sports guy or gal. If you miss some of those cable channels, by the way, different in every location. So make sure you go to YouTube, tv.youtube.com, and put in your zip code, and it'll tell you all the channels that are available to you there. They're different by region. Did you want to say something?
Well, I was going to say, you know, for the techie, you know, it's probably a little bit harder of a decision because we have other options. If you are someone who is still paying for cable, you should really consider, like, I think, Jim, our listeners who are paying for any sort of cable service, those I think are the listeners that should give it a shot. Go plug it in, see what channels are there. Yeah, you're going to give up some channels like HGTV, not on there. NFL Red Zone, supposedly coming next season, who knows? But if you're paying for cable, give it a check, because I was itching. I could not wait for my 2-year agreement with Cox to be up, and it came up last July, and I switched instantly, and that cut $100 out. You know, I was paying like $100. I was paying $110 just for some of the cable stuff, because you got to think, every box in your home for cable, that's like $5 a month, you know, so that's $15, $20 depending on how many TVs you have. Plus they gouge you on every single package. So YouTube, it's a flat fee. That's also what I like about it, except for I think you can add Showtime in maybe for an extra fee.
They do have some add-ins now. There's like 15 add-ins. So,
are there really?
Yeah.
Okay. But for the most part, like all those sports channels are not in their own tier, things like that. So yeah, kind of nice.
SP mentions the name of that show, Life After People, and you can get that on YouTube. By the way, you don't have to go anywhere to get that. I've been watching that straight on YouTube, where you can kind of find some of those things that have made their way to YouTube. It has been, I don't know, I'm fascinated by it. So, in the Facebook group this week, Kevin, or I think it was last week, Kevin Schoonover, who does this all the time, shared as a new, not really new, but a Zmoto cam. They're called the Pivot, Pivot. The Pivot, it was $50, normally $99. I can't not jump. It's 1080p. It's 360 camera. Here's the box. I actually have it set up in the living room right now, and a good little camera. The motor in it's a little noisy, but the camera quality is good. It's almost has a 180 angle on the camera itself. So is that thing, like, I don't even in a lot of cases have it sitting in the living room. I've been spying on Sarah. She doesn't know it, but actually she does. She goes, "Are you going to spy on me with that thing?" Yep.
Yes, I am.
Yep. Yes, I am. Actually spying on the cat. But a good little, if you were going to have a device in the house where you wanted to be able to control it or see a wide angle on it or get access to it remotely, they got a good little app. Zmoto was on the show a couple months ago, back in the summer. I have that cam that they gave me that actually is watching the front door. That cam and this Pivot share the same app, which is really cool to have both on one. I'm gonna probably move it around. I actually thought about bringing it down here and putting it up on the shelf up here and having it see the whole basement area down here. I have a lot of equipment down here, right? 16 gig of memory on there. It's got cloud options as well. If you want to pay, there's a service you can buy on $20 or something a month where you can pay to have those stuff stored in the cloud, or I think you can store it locally for $50. Kevin, thanks. Oh, by the way, humidity, temperature as well. It tracks that over time, which is kind of interesting. It's got a 2-way intercom on it, so you can push a button and talk through to somebody. If you had an older parent, grandparent that you wanted to be able to talk to them through the app, check in on them, this would be great, especially in rooms where you need 360 coverage. The motor is not the quietest. I think I mentioned that. It is a Bluetooth speaker, which is interesting as well. I haven't tried. Well, dude, it's only this big. Like, so how good is that speaker?
And the speaker's probably a tiny part of that.
But a cam sitting by a chair and somebody just wants to have some music playing or a podcast playing, like they don't care. I mean, super convenient.
How big is it?
Size-wise?
Yeah, size-wise.
About half this. This is almost real size right
here.
So
like a pop can?
Yeah, a little bigger than a pop can.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's a perfect analogy. I think if you see these again and you're interested, for $50, it's a buy. I'm going to give it a buy rating on it.
If I remember correctly, the Zmoto ones, they do not have like an RTSP stream or anything that you can put into Sighthound or Blue Iris, right?
Correct. Yeah, no, you are definitely doing it on the app only. type piece. But they've been making really good equipment.
No kidding. Now it's an ecosystem you could totally get into with all the different product offerings, and for the prices that these cameras are coming out at, this could be your camera ecosystem.
Yeah, it even came with 2 door sensors as well in the box. So if you want to put those on there, it's got some, it's got here's the actual sensor. These are a little big. I'm not going to lie.
Those are a little big.
Here's your sensor, and there's a little big for those. I'm not putting them up in the house here because we're going to be moving at some point, and I really don't want to tear these things down. But it does for $50. Not only do you get the pivot, you get 2 door sensors with it. You can pair those together, and there's some things in the app you can do to say, hey, when this door opens, turn the camera towards that door, and you can kind of teach it to do. It's got in the app, you can kind of say only monitor these sections for movement. If you want, like, hey, I only like the front door is here. I only want you to do anything if you see motion in this area.
Okay.
Type deal. So, pretty cool, Mike. I think it's if you missed this one, maybe there'll be others, but if you see deals come up on that, I'm kind of liking the Zmoto brand. It's one of those easy to use apps, work well. I still need to work on getting it saving all the, anything when it senses, saving all that someplace I can actually get to it and use it if I need it. That I've tried these cameras, and then I look at them live. Oh, that's cool. Right. I can see the sun or whatever. Right. So pretty cool. No, so Kevin, thanks for dropping that in the,
no kidding. I love those deals he's been posting. And also another huge shout out. I just want to thank Tony Rayner has been just killing it on Twitter. He actually got Unraid to retweet to tweet out about our podcast. That was awesome because he mentioned, and he's just been super complimentary on Twitter. So Tony, thanks for everything you've been doing for us and the promotions you've been doing. And that was really cool to have Unraid, take an interest in the podcast. And I know that all of our Unraid fans here, we're pretty excited to hear that.
Mike, you got to reach out to them and see if they got an expert that'll come on the show.
That'd be fantastic.
You should since you're the Unraid guy, you've been doing it. Shoot them a note. If they say no, they say no. But I bet we could get somebody from there. I mean, we're talking about it enough. Give that if you're comfortable with that. Somehow this showed up back in the basement. The egg minder. So I bought this about 1.5 years ago, and it sat on my kitchen table for like, I don't know, a year. And I cracked the seal on the box right there. You kind of see that's as far as I got on opening this thing. We kind of made fun of it. I think I got it for $6. Remember, the egg minder was a Wink product that was Wi-Fi controlled, and it would tell you when you ran out of eggs.
And it was kind of at the beginning of that whole smart home time.
Like, is it really that serious of a problem that you need to know when you've run out of eggs?
Yeah.
So anyways, Sarah found it somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where she found it, but it showed up on my desk, and I was like, oh my gosh. It even has an indicator light that shows which egg is the oldest by when you
really from the time you put it in. Yeah. That's okay. That feature might actually be useful.
Talk about a niche that didn't really need to be filled.
Yeah, no.
Because I don't know about you, but do you have eggs that sit around long enough to even care about?
We do, because we go in spurts of when we use eggs. Because Emmett's allergic, so it's really a select time that we'll get out an egg and use it. It's got to be just for Hannah or I, because he's allergic, and we don't do too much baking, which is usually where you use your eggs. So yeah, ours do actually sit around for a little bit, and it's kind of hit or miss if we're using them or not using them.
We'll just do a little bit of an unboxing.
Okay, there we go. Live unboxing.
Live unboxing. It's actually a really nice padded case that's in there, and of course some instructions that go with it like this. And Mike, I am not going to lie, this is a beautifully designed egg holder.
It actually does look really nice.
No, it really is. That like your lid comes off like that. This is beautiful. And then eggs in there, they light up when you put it in there. There's a place in the back for your battery. I imagine it takes a AA battery that's probably dead by now because I haven't used this thing. A manual on-off switch on the back to turn it on. QWERTY is what this QURKY quirky egg thing. I'm actually try this again. Like,
yeah, give it a
try. Is beautiful. Look at that. So we give it a try.
Okay, so what are some other use cases? I'm trying to think, like,
F. or where you're cooking meth and you can put it in here.
Well, I'm thinking of like, okay, I'm running low on something else, like golf balls, shotgun shells. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like other things that would fit in there that you would need to count and use. I can't think of anything right now, but I don't know. There's got to be other use cases, bath bombs for
or
the
just
bath.
eggs.
Bath bombs,
Yeah, bath bombs.
Right?
Yeah, bath bombs would work, or just eggs. Actually,
I
think it'll work.
It was made
I think it'll work. These things, this whole idea of packaging being so elegant, thank you, Apple, for now forcing everybody to create elegant packaging. Like I tried to put my Apple Watch box back together. No, it requires a PhD in box folding.
It's like origami getting that thing back together.
It's like, holy cow, this design has gotten a little carried away. So we'll give, I still may give this Corky a try up there. It was just funny that I found that. Couple updates too. Maybe I spoke a little too soon on the Shopco earbud replaced or AirPods, right? That I bought. I bought these earbuds. They were called, what were they called? Let's see. What did Shopco call them? HomePods? No, something crazy. It was a total ripoff, right? And they were $40. I didn't give them a very good review. And I said I was going to take them back. And then I was at Shopco and they were like, no returns. Because the store's closing, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, what am I going to do now? Well, I guess I'll just use them. So I put them in my bag, my gym bag, and I've been wearing them 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times at the gym. And actually, they're not as bad as I thought they were.
Really?
So, yeah.
Not losing connection as often as they were?
Yeah, well, so I get in the gym, put them in, push one down, it pairs. And it pairs quickly. Like, hold it down, it says on. Pairing complete, like that.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting. Push the other one, it says teaming complete. So now they're teamed together.
Right.
Put on YouTube, still awful latency between the two. Phone calls are still only in one ear and not two, which is interesting. So when I'm listening to messages or whatever back, that's okay. I don't do a lot of phone calls anyway, so it's not a big deal. But sound has been great. Portability has been great. Charges have been great. Sound, good enough that it gets me through. So, what I first kind of thought was, man, I just wasted $40. It was really 38. I'm kind of thinking like, well, okay, for the cheap guy like me at times, this isn't so bad. Like if you don't want to drop the 140 on AirPods, this could be a good alternative. And they look just like it. Everybody's like, oh, hey, you got new AirPods. And I'm like, actually, they're ripoffs. They are definitely ripoffs. But Mike, I wouldn't, I wouldn't, they're not, okay, this is not a $140 pair of AirPods.
Right.
Trust
well,
me.
but if you know that going in, if you've got that understanding and they're $40 ones, then if they get the job done, they get the job done. And I think for a lot of people, if you're watching YouTube, if you're just listening to music, obviously the delay is not even an issue.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you don't even know. Podcasts, music, you don't even know. So I may turn that review around a little bit. And if you're thinking of some, if you want to go that route, you need them for that. And, you're willing to take a little less quality. Maybe not a bad option. I'm not telling you to run out to the Shopco site and buy them, although they are cheap right now. Because Shopco's going to go out of business. There will be no returns. I'm just warning you. If you do that, there will be no returns on those. But definitely worth the $40. So super cool. Mike, are you okay? You were super still. I thought for sure you were locked up.
No, not locked up. No, it's like overtime of the Creighton game, and I'm sorry. I keep drifting down.
No,
it's Villanova. Big game for Creighton. I just keep drifting down, getting caught on that game.
Got a new twist on HelloFresh, but do you have anything else to add before we wrap this up and everybody just turns it off because I'm going to talk about HelloFresh? But don't, because I have a twist.
Now they're all right. Fast forward. Done.
Don't. I got an interesting twist. Anything else to add?
No, I want to hear about what's new with
this twist. All right. So we were, of course, as we've been cooking a lot more with HelloFresh. Sarah is a big Pampered Chef user, and if you know Pampered Chef, it's really good stuff. Like there's nothing like cutting an onion or garlic or whatever, chopping it up with their chopper. They have this little hand chopper, put it down, hit that thing about 20 times, done. Like super cool. We have all their measuring gadgets. I mean, we have tons of gadgets from Pampered Chef, and I didn't realize how helpful they were until I was the one starting to do the chopping, right? And then you're like, oh man, now I can see why people buy these fancy knives and this chopper and all these other things, pizza stones. And we had a big pan that we had for 15 years, and we just wore it out. And I was going to buy a new one for her. And so I went to our Pampered Chef gal at work, and I'm like, hey, can I buy a new one? She's like, what's wrong with the old one? I said, well, it's kind of worn out. She's like, no, those are guaranteed for life. She's like, I'll get you an RMA. So that afternoon, I had an email like, here's your RMA number. Send the thing in. Now, these are $200 pans, right?
Yeah.
So we boxed it up. We sent it in. I thought, there's no way they're going to take this thing. Nope. Week later, brand new pan. I was like, holy cow. Like, okay. Like, this is legit. Great customer service. Back up everything they do. So it's like, okay, I mean, I'm going to give that rep something for that. Like, so I go to her and I'm like, hey, I need to buy a pizza stone. And she's like, actually, we're running deals on pizza stones right now. And if you do a party, I'm like, I don't want people that come over. She said, no, just do it online. We'll just set you up a store. We'll just run it for 2 weeks. Anybody that buys stuff through it gets, you'll get credit for that. And I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. So I'm going to do this for her. This is kind of what I'm doing it for her, because she's a friend of mine. But if guys or gals, if you're big Pampered Chef fans, and you should be, actually, there's a lot of cooking gadgetry and nerdery that exists inside Pampered Chef. Like, I did not realize, Mike, like just the nerdery that goes on around cooking. With those guys.
And the quality, Jim, we kind of recently got into cast iron. I think I might have talked about this. My sister got us a cast iron pot for Christmas. And since then we have bought the cast iron skillet, things that last a long time. And with warranties like that lifetime warranty, I mean, that is worth the money. I think we live in a world now with the cheap Amazon, buy it, use it for a year, it goes bad. Buy another one later. Who cares about it? But man, some of that stuff, Jim, just like you said, you had that pan already for 15 years. Then you get a brand new one. You didn't pay a dime more. Like that $200 back then, you haven't spent any more money on any pan since then. And you just got another one that's probably going to last another 15 years. Right. So it's pretty cool.
Since I've been doing these HelloFresh commercials here at the end, I've been hearing from people via email, and they're like, yeah, I do a lot of cooking. I do a lot of the cooking too. Or like, hey, does this really save you that much time? Or those kinds of things. And so, gentlemen and ladies that are out there, I know you're doing this. So for a friend of mine, we're going to do a little Pampered Chef party, completely virtual. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to cook anything or whatever. We have set up a site for you. If you just go to pamperedchef.com/party/Jim Collison. Super easy to remember. Again, no pressure here. It's only going to be open for a week or two. So if you're listening to the live version of it, you got a while. But if you're listening to the recorded version of it, it's not going to be around forever. We're going to kind of run this thing out pretty quick. Just get it done. I don't want to be pimping this thing forever. I'm going to buy a pizza stone out of the deal. Which we just love their pizza stones. Mike, they have this deep dish pizza stone too. Like if you're into deep dish pizza, it's the stone on the bottom and then the sides where you can kind of build
really?
up. Oh, dude. Yeah, I may get one just for me.
Well, I'm on the site now. I'm kind of looking at.
Yeah,
we did pizza stone too.
Pretty great. If you're a pizza fan, John Big sent me a picture. He had made like a pizza lasagna thing this last weekend. He calls himself Hello John, by the way. That's what he started. That's what he started doing because they talk about HelloFresh so much. So, pamperedchef.com/party/Jim Collison. If you want to get in on that, anything's appreciated. Again, I'm just doing this for my friend because she did such a great job of helping me out. Get that pan replaced. I kind of want to repay her just in business for it. So if you're thinking about buying something, maybe you got a birthday coming up, we kind of miss Christmas, but that's okay. Get it for next Christmas. One of those kinds of things. They have got all kinds of cooking geekery that is pretty great. You've been listening to the show for any length of time. We're grill nerds, we're barbecue nerds, we're food nerds, and we love the kitchen guts. I mean, God's sakes, I have an egg minder sitting right behind me, right?
Yeah.
So love to have you do it. Again, don't forget pamperedchef.com/party/Jim Collison. If you want to jump in on the HelloFresh, I get plenty of coupons all the time. Just let me know. Jim@theaverageguy.tv. I'll ship you a little code. You can either get, I still think I have a bunch of coupons for completely free, or $40 and I get 30, whatever you want to do. I'd love to have you take advantage of it. Mike, I actually, with Sarah out, we haven't been cooking together. I actually have 3 HelloFresh meals sitting in the fridge right now that I think are going to be Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night.
The entire weekend.
No, right on. I got the weekend covered, which is pretty great. We did Chinese tonight because I got out of work so late, and I am the cook right now while Sarah recovers. We are live every Thursday, except this week, we're Wednesday. We're live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern, out here at The Average Guy. TV live. A few crypto updates. Don't go away. Don't go running off. You don't. This isn't scary. In fact, I have some. No, I don't have any good news on crypto. We will stay around for a little post-show crypto. With that, we'll say goodnight, everybody. Hey, if you made it to this part of the program, you are the 1%, maybe less than 1% that actually make it to the post show. Mike, as I've been saying that, I haven't been getting notes saying I listen. So there's more than
people here,
maybe more than I think.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
they're here.
The live folks stay around and they're awesome. One of the disadvantages to this new chat room that we have, I can't actually see who's out there. Like I don't actually know. You can kind of flip over, right? You can go to the 3 dots and go participants. I just see Kevin and you. That's all I see.
Me too. I just went over there as well. So I don't know why.
No, that part is completely broken. I think SP, he's in the chat room. SP, Steven, have gone to, what have you guys gone to, SP? I know they're using chat service as well. What have you gone to and what are you paying for it? I looked at that. I think it's the same one as they use for International Podcast Day, but that's the definite disadvantage. You really can't see anybody on there. Mike, I mentioned during the live show that I did a complete burst kind of reconfiguration this weekend. Try to get most of my burst onto one box. And I also went solo. So we've been in this VLP. Yeah, we've been in this VLP group. And for some reason, I can't quite figure it out. My earnings went from $450 a week to $350 a week, almost overnight. Almost like something's going on. I'm not saying it is. Almost like something like it was, and it wasn't like the end of the month when every month the coin goes down by a certain amount. It wasn't like that. It's around that BHD thing, some things kind of cropped up, and I don't know what kind of shenanigans are going on. So I was like, well, maybe I'll just go solo and see how it goes.
Yeah.
And so to go solo, I had to declare kind of myself solo on the network, and then I had to get the wallet working. And isn't it funny? You ever trouble where you've been troubleshooting a problem and you can't fix it and you can't fix it and you can't fix it, and you walk away from it for like a month, and then you come back and you find like in 2 minutes
yes. Yeah, and it drives you nuts. You're like, why did I spend so much time on that in the past?
I know. I think I spent a whole weekend trying to get the Burst wallet running after all the upgrades. Couldn't get it running for whatever reason. So I gave up on the wallet. I was like, I don't need it. I'll do my transactions through a web-based, wallet, which isn't great, but I did. And and then I forgot about it. Well, to go solo, I needed to get the wallet running. So I Googled it, and sure enough, they're like, oh yeah, when they made the update, they turned the portable Java off, and it just needs to be turned on. So I turned on portable Java. They just worked.
Like that was it.
Like just came right on. I mean, for weeks it sat and sat and sat, and I could not get the wallet to start. And again, 5 minutes on Google, I had the answer. And maybe that's just sometimes because you have to wait for the problem to be fixed and somebody to post it so you can find it through a search.
Right.
Yep.
So Google search and just find it right away.
I was pretty early to the update. Its chances are nobody knew that. That's why I couldn't find it. So anyway, got the Burst wallet running, and got as much storage on this box as I possibly can. And everything's cut over and working pretty well. So I did pull some storage back. I talked about it. I pulled some storage back to make that Windows box work for me. And so I took a few drives that I had been using for bursts and have just made them storage drives. I probably will make a couple more that way as well. That's kind of a switch. Maybe 2 weeks ago, I was trying to talk myself into buying more storage. Like burst is a disease, dude.
It really is. It's like, I got 64 terabytes. I need more, right? You're like, and you were probably looking to buy more for personal storage, right? Or were you looking to buy more for burst?
No, I was looking to buy more for burst. Okay. Yeah. It's like, okay, yeah, 67 is just, maybe I can get to 70. Like, hey, this $50 3 terabyte drive, I mean, it's $50. It's not that much. It's not like I'm being excessive. I mean, it's not like 70 terabytes of storage is excessive or anything. And so I kind of went from that to like, well, maybe I should pull some of that storage back and actually store some things. It's actually a great problem to have, because you're like, hey, if I wanted to store more things, I got plenty of drives. Like it's not like I'm itching for drives. And then, hatch that plan to be like, okay, I should probably store these files again locally, could back them up locally on the Drobo. I got plenty of places to store things. The Drobo is really not being used. So that was kind of the weekend of crypto, was kind of thinking through those options. The BitTube, I've been mining BitTube, 2.5 cents, maybe a coin at this point. And I mine, I don't know, 4 or 5 a day for whatever reason. It's low power, it's Monero backed, that type deal. They have a fork coming up, and not the fork where you get more, just a fork.
Yeah.
But it's going to require a new wallet. So that's tomorrow. And the new wallet just came out today, because crypto's that way.
So how are you staying up to date on all this though?
Through Discord. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I follow the general and the announcements sections, and you just kind of watch
of each coin. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Discord, man, has really become a very good solution to build a community around. What a fantastic way to build community.
I know. I almost feel like now is the time to make a Home Gadget Geeks Discord group. I mean, people have been asking.
Announcements out there, you post, you can separate it out. People can then privately chat amongst each other, right? Don't have to have a Facebook. It's pretty cool. I've been convinced too, because I think I started to get into them with the cryptocurrency groups, and then with Twitch, it was also a great way to have a Twitch community. Yeah, it's been nice.
Yeah. Well, it's been easy to keep up with. It looks easy to, it's kind of like the old bulletin board stuff, a little bit better than that. I kind of follow, it's easy to click through some things. I don't read every single thing in every single group. Yeah, I've given up on all the SIA derivatives. SIA is dead. It's not, but it is. It's not going anywhere. Hold on to all those coins and such, but there's a new one John's been talking about, John Big's been talking about, called Beam, BEAM. It has gotten a little bit of traction. I don't know why, but it seems to be the darling, kind of like Raven Coin was 3 or 4 months ago, where everybody was doing Raven Coin. A lot of folks have been talking about Beam. It does not run on my 3 gig cards. I tried it. I set it up. I was one of the early, day it opened, I was there. I got a notification. I followed a guy on YouTube. And he was like, "Hey, you got to try this out." And I went out there. I needed 4 gig cards or higher, and I only have 3 gig cards. Have you been following the NVIDIA RX releases with these new RX 1070s or no 2070s?
Yeah, that series. A little bit,
dude. These cards are like $2,000.
Well, they're insane. Yeah.
Like what? 2,000? Well, okay, maybe not 2,000, but 1,600 for sure. And Joe said he tried to put the dollar signs in the chat room and it wouldn't take it. Ron says Home Gadget Geeks Discord for sure. Yeah, it's probably time. Probably time we get that going, Mike.
Yep.
Do our own Discord stuff. I'll work on that. Not this weekend, but I'll get working on that. I think it's time. So, yeah. So I think this weekend a little bit, we're going to do some, Ken and I are working on some burst and some BHD stuff. And then, I think tonight before I go to bed, I'll probably upgrade the UI for BitTube. Interesting thing on BitTube. They've been debating. They have an xxx.bittube.com. They have that, right?
Okay.
They have their own porn site. It's dividing the community. Like there's some who are like, this is really going to hold you back,
right,
to have your own porn thing. And then there's others like, no, this is the free internet,
right.
So they had a Twitter vote. I wonder how it went. I went out and voted for it on Twitter. They opened up.
They're talking about ruining a brand that doesn't even have a brand. No one's heard of this.
They got thousands of people to vote. It's not like thousands of people are the internet, but it's not like it's 5 guys doing this thing.
Really?
There's quite a few people out there.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's I mean, it's not YouTube, but I've told you this before. It's got the best chance of all these things of actually doing something.
And I've told you I don't know. I don't know if I buy it.
Oh, Joe got the dollar signs working. Well, I don't know what it'll do. I'm just saying it has the best chance of actually being a viable thing. They have, not only do they do video, but they also have an ad blocking. They have ad blocking software that then will give BitTube credit to people who, what is it? It works out in some way so that you get it if you have the right plugin or something like that, and people stay on your site, you get credit associated, because you're trying to replace advertising. So stop advertising and let's find a different system for funding content providers that's not ads. Right? Okay. Well, that's interesting. Like that's, of course I said that about Saya, and storage was interesting too. And then, it's not going to work. No, I will it go anywhere? Probably not. Is it interesting? Yeah,
it is.
Like I do agree. I do think it's interesting. That gets me wondering though. I was like, did I post the last Home Gadget Geeks to that? And then I was thinking, oh, it's been 2 weeks. Okay, I'm okay. I just had, you have those dreams that you're in high school and you forgot to go to class for like the last 3 months.
You really miss a week, so it's odd that we have a week off.
I just had that while I was awake. This bad, like, oh my God, did I not post the podcast last week? Well, we didn't do a podcast last week. So let's see. Anything else crypto wise this week? I did spend a lot of time working through some things with what is out there and getting some things reconfigured. Well, I took the N40 box down to, it had, I don't know, it's 8-9 terabytes on it that I took off. I took off a burst and moved those around a little bit. Some I took away, reconfigured some things. So yeah, I'm down to 3 boxes on burst. McCabe posted on Twitter. He's out.
He's done. Huh?
I didn't even realize he was doing burst. Like,
I didn't know he was doing burst either.
Not this.
He was doing other like GPU mining, but
yeah. And he had a lot of drives. Like he had a lot of extra drives.
Really.
And yeah, I just don't think he's kept up with it. So I had to drive to Indianapolis and offer to take all those drives off his hands. See the sickness? Do you see it?
No kidding.
Do you see it? So Lopta is out in Twitter and says he joined late, missed the chat. Lopta, we have chat. It's just YouTube chat. You can pop over there's a link below the video down there on the live page. It says you want to join the video. If you click on that, it'll open a new window and there's chat there. So Lopta, if you want to join us there in YouTube chat, you can do it. Still there. It's so funny, Mike, that the emotions this chat wing has invoked on both sides. Some people are like, thank God. Others like, I hate this. So Lopta, good to have you make your way over to the YouTube chat if you can. And actually, YouTube chat is a little more friendly on mobile devices than Chatwing was. Chatwing was getting a little 100%. Long in the tooth.
Yeah.
They had not made a system update on Chatwing in like 4 years. It was exactly the same software, exactly the same server. They wrote that stuff, and then it was like one guy maintaining it, nobody advertising for it, everybody using it. So, Lopta, hope you can join us over on the YouTube side for that. Mike, you change anything? You're out, right? You're out completely at this point.
I mean, I still hold, right? But yeah as far as all mining, I'm out.
Yeah. Okay. You disappoint me, young.
I know. Well, now I'm in the like the unraid swing, and
no, I like it. It's actually been good. We've been getting a lot of positive feedback on your unraid stuff.
Good.
Yeah,
it's been fun to talk about.
People. I think people like it. It's we there's home server roots here, and
And on that, I mean, I would love to go into more detail too at some point. Now that I've had Untangle up and running for a while, kind of give a recap of some of my favorite features there. Maybe figure out a way to do some screen sharing. I don't think it shows public IPs or anything like that, so we could show the screen. And I think Untangle is one of those items, Jim. I don't know who mentioned it earlier in the chat when you were saying you cleared that computer off. Before you said what you did with it, they said, "Oh, make an Unraid or an Untangle box out of it." And it would be an interesting little if you had an extra just computer line around to just put Untangle on it and see, because you wouldn't need to use it as a router. You could just have it in line and track stuff. It's nice.
One of the things that it reminds me when you say other computers laying around, you know, I am running the 19H1 fast ring builds on both the Surface Pro 3. This has nothing to do with crypto, by the way. So crypto's over. Surface Pro 3 and then the Kangaroo. And when they have on this latest build that will come out this spring, they're actually reserving space now for updates on your hard drive. And that's created some controversy. Like, God, you already take a bunch of space. You're going to take more space to make your own updates work better. You know, that's some people have been kind of pissed. But the Kangaroo is the perfect kind of PC to try that on because it's only got 32 gig to begin with. And it is constantly struggled with updates. Like,
yeah,
you put that thing on the fast ring and it just crushes it. And so I've tried out the new I've tried out that new H1 fast ring on there, and so far it's helping. And so maybe if you've got a smaller you have a smaller storage device, an older device, Windows 10 is actually, you were kind of mentioning this, Windows 10 is getting better on slower devices, not worse. They're making it more efficient, not less. They're stripping more things out of it and getting it so it'll run more efficient than less. Lighter, not heavier.
And then are you on the Insider program for the Xbox?
No, I mean, I'm not gonna.
Not going to?
I'm not gonna. I don't play it enough to.
That's actually a good use case for it then. Maybe. I enjoy it. I'm in on it on my Xboxes. Works well. I've never had a problem where it's prevented me from doing anything. So it's been kind of nice to have those features ahead of time. I'm reading the article that Kevin just put in the
Crypto Exchange says it can't pay investors because its CEO died and he had the passwords. You know, that might happen more often than you think.
No kidding.
You know, we often don't think about this is the great thing about LastPass and why I pay for it, because Sarah has access. You know, Mike, as a lawyer, you know, this is will week for me. It's time to update our will. Yeah. So I've been going through the paperwork for that, and that's a perfect time I'm going to shore up. I'm going to use this time to make sure that our executor, who will be our son, has all the right information as well. We'd be screwed. Listen, so it's great that Sarah has a copy of it, but if something happened to us together, they'd really be screwed. Like they'd be screwed enough if it was just Sarah. And
even if nothing has happened to Sarah, you know, if let's say you don't update it for a while, you guys get to your old age where she might not remember where that stuff's at. Right. You know, right? You know, having gone through this very recently in my family on both my mom and my dad's side with grandparents passing away, spouses being left in charge of stuff, where is everything? My grandfather was extremely organized. I mean, the most organized guy, and it made it so easy on my grandma, my mom, when they were going through that to have he had these boxes and they were labeled. You open it up, here was a meeting he had with his attorney. He has sticky notes with the notes he took. Well, here's where this is at. Here's where this is what this means. I mean, everything just laid out. My grandma didn't need to know anything because he was so well organized. So I think in our digital lives, it's a little bit harder, right? Because they, you know, if he had stored this digitally, I would have to scour his computer, things like that. But make it known, have a plan, get in there, like you said, update it. You know, that's one thing I need to get Hannah and I's LastPass accounts synced up so that she could have access to all my LastPass stuff. Because she would have no idea where. Well, crypto would be the one thing she wouldn't know. Everything else, I think we're pretty well set on.
Let's just admit, crypto, like the CEO that died, like crypto would go away with Sarah.
Yep.
Well, it's not worth anything, $200. But maybe $4.
But isn't that the interesting thing? Is that's just going to sit there forever?
Yeah. And if it ever, like, say, it does make a run in value, it's going to be a run in value that goes nowhere.
Yeah. Right.
Well, but okay. Think about this. Somebody has a bunch of cash. They bury it somewhere to hide it. They die. Same thing.
But that's the only instance where that happens, or like if the physical cash burns up. But otherwise, that's just not going to happen with your fiat currency.
Yeah, no, right on. No, I get that. But it's how often do you have a situation like this where the really important passwords are only kept by the CEO? I mean, this is obviously a startup or something, a bunch of neckbeards running that are running the show, and they're coming in and like, oh yeah, we didn't think about that. Yeah, because you don't have an adult that works in your office.
Yeah.
you know, so it's a good reminder, I think, as I this weekend, we're gonna we get our EAP. By the way, a little tip here. We have a employee assistance program. They do a lot more. Oftentimes, that used to be resolved, or that used to be reserved for crises or counseling, and those things are all great. Though, I mean, the fact that you can get counseling through EAP services, and those things are expensive, and you can get them in some cases by your employer. In our case, you can get 6 counseling sessions. You can see a therapist for free.
Wow.
6 times. Yeah, it's a great benefit, right? They also have a will planning where there's some software you can download for free, or they pay for it, right? It's $70 software that they pay for, part of the services that we purchase, and it helps you put the will together. And then we'll fill that out. If I need legal counsel, I might know a lawyer.
Yep.
Just might know one. But then they'll notarize it and take care of all the things that need to get done to get that. Our credit union will do that, and it's something. It's something that we don't think a lot about. And I told everybody I shored up my kids. I bought life insurance on my kids years ago through our church insurance company. Thriven is what it's called. $6 a kid. It was whole life, which you would never recommend you'd normally buy. But in this case, it's actually worked out in my favor because it built a little savings in there, and the insurance was dirt cheap. So basically, I can make the same premiums. I keep upping their policies with guaranteed insurance options where it doesn't require health. So I'm insuring their own insurability. And they're not doing it. I'm doing it because if they won't, they're knuckleheads. So I'm doing it. So if in the future something were to happen, I would at least have some money to help them or their spouse or whatever with it. So that paperwork came all in the other day. We had to get that transferred back. Technically, it transferred to them when they turned 21. But I was talking to him about it, and I just got this deer in the headlights look, like, what? I'm like, I'm going to keep it. Okay, I'm going to keep it. So it's back to me. But Mike, something to think about. With the kids is there's never a cheaper time. And if you go, there's lots of companies that do it for children and stuff. But if you go to a good reputable company, some of them will have plans that allow you to start small, pay small premiums, and then you get those guaranteed increases. Right. And say like one of them, maybe not your children, but one of them gets really sick and becomes uninsurable. Well, some of those plans have anywhere from 10 to 15 times where you can raise it a little bit, 5,000 or 10,000. Now, at the end of the day, it's not a lot of insurance. This isn't going to back you up forever. But in an event of someone's death, it will pay for burial, which is super expensive. Yeah. Like putting somebody in the ground now is like paying for college. Like it's super expensive. You're talking 50 probably to get it all done at the end of the day. By the time all the expenses and travel and, depending on how you bury him you can probably do it for 20. And that's like bare minimum, which is ridiculous. So something to think about there too. We took out insurance on our kids nearly day one. Like they're being born. We contacted our insurance agent and said, okay, they're 6 months old. We want to take out this policy that started at 25,000. I think we started at 15 because it was cheaper 25 years ago to bury somebody. Right. And just in case, because again, you're grieving, you have your own kids, something happens. The last thing you want to think about is like, oh crap, this is going to cost me $30,000. Right. And I think I told you this, but I wanted to have a plan. Like I wanted to be able to pay for everybody to get here.
Travel in, yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Like I want to say, look, I don't care where you are. Get a freaking plane ticket and get your butt here. Well, it's for $6 a month.
Not bad.
It's totally worth it. So I don't know why we went down that manhole, but we did. That rabbit hole, not manhole, but rabbit. It could be a manhole. Ron is working on. Mike, I sent you the pictures of this.
Super cool, Ron. It was a video.
Yeah, this 3D printed coin that he's kind of making for us.
He said con, he meant coin. He 3D printed a coin for HGG, and it's awesome. It's one of the coolest things I've seen.
Lobs is asking because Jim can't talk. He said he's done talking for the week. 11th podcast in 10 days.
Yeah.
Yikes, guys! Thanks for coming out tonight. Mike, hang tight for just 1 second. We will pick it up again next week. I didn't announce this on the show, but we've got some guests coming up over the next couple weeks. Dwayne, not next week, but 391. It doesn't end in 4. Dwayne said he only comes on when the show ends in 4, but he's on 391 on the 21st, and then Aaron Lawrence comes back on the 7th of March. Richey comes back on March 28th to talk about the Windows stuff.
I'm gonna miss Aaron Lawrence. I was just going to tell you, I am out on the 7th.
No, well, shoot. Did you miss last time too? You got something again? Oh, were you here for her last time?
Well, I think we both had to end up like I was out and then she had to miss. So we moved it. I was on with her last time.
You were on with her last time. Oh shoot. Well, that'll actually work out well to have. She's killer. She is super. She is super good. So, Lopto, we did not.
We haven't started.
Started the Discord yet. So.
Jim's. It's on the list of things to do.
Yes. We'll see you guys next week. I think I'm a normal. No, there's no such thing as normal. But I think
next Thursday is Valentine's Day. Do we need to?
I can't do Wednesday because I am. Are you do traditionally? Do you? My wife doesn't even like me, to be honest. But
we do.
Do you?
I didn't notice that until I just looked at the schedule.
Let me find somebody.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you should. You need to do that. Don't.
With the kids both being this year, I could probably.
Well, talk to Hannah.
Talk to Hannah.
Talk to Hannah about it, and be okay. Got to be great to have her on, and you and her, and like a Valentine's Day with some tech kind of bend on it. She is so great, dude.
She's really good. She's dynamite.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she could be on too because the kids are in bed by that time.
Just an option. Do you have a second mic?
On a boom stand right here.
Oh yeah, you would have to for
shooting scrubs.
Okay,
well, got her own headset dangling here, plugged in. We have a headphones amplifier, so we can both listen to ourselves.
Well, okay, so talk to her about it. It would be the weirdest Valentine's Day thing ever to do.
Wait, Mike. So not only are you going to podcast on Valentine's Day, now you want me to podcast on Valentine's Day? I'm like, yeah, we do. We want you on.
We could maybe Home Gadget Geeks will sponsor the wine.
There we go.
Right, we could do. Well,
yeah.
Maybe bring over a little Valentine's package for the couple, and we have the two of you on together and see if she's interested. That'd be kind of fun. It'd be fun for the audience to hear her as we think about suit and scrubs.
Sure. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So talk to her about it. Don't
says do a couple show.
Yeah, don't force it. All right, guys. Mike, you hang tight for a second. We'll see you next week.